At a birthday celebration, a young woman receives an urgent call to babysit 2-year-old Briar. After picking up Briar, she heads to a nearby store where she is approached by the store's security guard. The interaction is caught on video, and while she wants to leave the tragic incident behind, others want the video made public. The young woman is Emira. The book is such a fun age, and you're listening to Lit Society. Let's get lit. This is Alexis.
And this is Kari.
And you're listening to Lit Society, a podcast about books and some drama.
Yes, yes.
So, Kari.
Hey, girl.
Do anything interesting this week? What's been going on?
You know, I've just, nope, not really. I've been trying to make time for friends.
Okay.
And maybe that has to do with our theme of the week from last week.
I'm going to say that it does. I mean, really?
So if people invite me to something, I try to go, and I'm trying to have things at my house like regularly. You know, hospitality and stuff. It's exhausting and a little expensive.
It is. It's part of adulting, isn't it?
It's part of adulting. Mm-hmm. What you been up to?
I've been in the process of falling into a hole.
Oh,
That's been difficult to get out. So,
okay, is this a financial hole? Have you been spending a lot of money?
I have not been spending any money.
What type of hole is this? What are you talking about?
Like on Tuesday, I took a mental health day. Well, scratch that. Tuesday, I took a sick day and I addressed my mental health.
Okay.
Yes.
Love it.
So, yeah.
So what does that mean? Anything you want to share?
I've been looking for a therapist to talk to. So
yeah, someone here.
Yeah, someone locally. But that's a whole doggone process.
Well, anytime you're looking for a doctor, you know, it's not as fun. So you got to think about your insurance.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but for me, whenever I find like my primary care now, I love her. And so she is not in my network, I guess, but I'm gonna keep going to her. And you know what?
You willing to pay the price?
I guess.
Yeah, you are. It's not a guess. You're doing it.
Because whenever you like somebody, they ain't in your network. So that makes me think, who's in my network? I don't want to meet those doctors. They sound terrible. Because all the good ones are out of my network. And people tell me I have good insurance, but how is good and none of the good people in the network?
You have to search the list.
Also, what is the network? You know, there's a lot of questions about adulting that I was trying to pick from your brain, but I don't know if you have the answers either.
I probably don't, but I do know about insurance.
But you taught me about a network.
I do know about insurance. I tell you that. I did have some experience working. And so that does bring us to our theme of the week. Each week, we choose a theme based on the book that we're reading.
Sure do.
This week, the theme is adulting.
Whoa.
Because adulting is hard.
It's so difficult.
It is a challenge. Mm-hmm. Do you hear me?
So wait, what else did you do for yourself? That's it? Did you take a nap?
No, I had things to do. I couldn't take a nap.
This don't sound like a self-care day. Self-care is like a spa day.
It's
like a day where you sit in quiet and maybe study.
That's different.
Read.
I didn't take one of them days.
Sound like you had a day to run errands. Okay, go ahead.
I was in the house in a hole.
Okay, girl.
Yep.
That's real.
Because adulthood is really hard.
It is.
Right? And it doesn't matter what end of the spectrum that you're on.
Yeah.
It hits you
whether you got a foot in the cradle or a foot in the grave. There are trials and tribulations.
Say that again, sis.
It is. It's crazy.
It is. On social media, there are like so many memes about adulting, and I was trying to think of one, and the one that came up was adulting is putting back a pack of chicken for $11.58 because you see one for $11.17. Yeah, because I know that's funny because I know I've done that before.
I remember being really poor and discovering chicken drumsticks. Like when I first moved out by myself, you can get like 20 drumsticks for $3. I'm exaggerating, but drumsticks are cheap.
Drumsticks are
now
cheap.
They might be full of hormones because I remember I'm gonna just say it, Joe Osco. I don't know what you putting in your chickens, but I don't trust it. The drumstick be as good, big as your thigh, as my own human leg.
Thigh. Mm-hmm.
But you know, struggle bus. It's hard to have healthy, organic farm to table food when you got, when you got farm to IKEA table money. It's rough.
Then my other favorite one is, of all the hoods I've lived in, adulthood is the worst.
Ooh.
I hate it here. But I just remember being excited to be an adult. I couldn't wait. It meant freedom, or perceived freedom anyway.
Right.
And even though I had no idea what I wanted to do in life, I just wanted to be free of parental rules and guidelines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How about you, Kari? Did you look forward to
of
adulthood?
course. Yeah, I stayed at home till I was 22 and, left the state, not because I didn't like it at home, but because I really did feel like my mother was going to make me a useless individual. I remember coming home.
Shout out to moms.
I remember coming home and my clothes was neatly folded on my bed. And I said, oh, this can't last.
And little do you
I had
know,
enough self-awareness to know I was on the path to bumdom.
You could have appreciated that way too much.
Yeah.
Like just lounging in adulthood.
Yeah. I said, I don't even know how pots and pans, I've heard of pots and pans, but the function that they have in a kitchen, I don't know. I don't know these words. These are just words. Maybe I should move out.
You know what? That's something we have in common. I don't know if you recall, but I moved out when I was 18 as well.
Yeah, I do.
I lived in Georgia for a few years.
Atlanta.
I sure did. It was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I was living my adultness.
So we're saying adulting is difficult, but then we're talking about how awesome it was and how we looked forward to. There's some awesome parts.
There are some awesome
The parts that make you feel like a kid.
Mm-hmm. That keep you
a
like
kid with your own place.
in that fun age.
Yeah, in such a fun age.
Such a fun age. When you thought about adult life, did you, or just yourself, did you have it all planned out? Did you feel like you had these expectations and rules that you needed to meet?
I had goals, definitely. I've never had any pressure to be anything. I'm not gonna say that's my problem. It's not. I've always felt accepted as nothing, as the nobody I is. So I had goals, though. I wanted to do some things that were in line with my faith and my abilities at the time. I really felt like, because I'm not a person that has ever felt like I needed to settle down and have children.
Yeah.
I've never even felt like I needed to be married.
Yeah.
So I thought, if I'm not a stationary person, then I have to be the person that goes out and like volunteers or is more generous with my resources, because I'm not going to have the responsibility that a lot of people have. So,
no, I came from a similar background in that sense, that there was an expectation put on me that I needed to go off and get married and have children.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know my mom encouraged me to be what I wanted to be.
That's beautiful.
And so that was always in the back of my head. But there was a time when I identified what I wanted, and then I was kind of shut down by my grandmother. And instead of listening to what my mom said, go and do that, you have it, you can do that, I listened to my grandmother and said, that's not for girls. And that put me off on another path, and that left me feeling clueless about what I wanted to do.
She had a role already cast. She already casted you in a role that she thought you'd play in.
Yeah. But what I did is I looked up an article that was called "When You're Overwhelmed with Being an Adult."
Sure.
And it was from psychcentral.com. And it talked about, things that come into your life that make your life feel like you're overwhelmed. Yeah. And that is like putting high expectations and rigid rules and responsibilities on yourself. Things that, like, if you don't meet this by a certain age, then you'll fall into. Those things have a huge impact on you, because if you don't meet them, then what? You'll feel like a failure, right?
I do remember feeling like that in my early 20s. Like, am I where I'm supposed to be? Always thinking, am I on the right timeline? Yeah. I don't even know where that timeline came from.
And you already said your parents didn't put that on you. So maybe it was some outside influence that was affecting. And that does happen, where we have an outside influence that makes us feel like we need to meet these markers.
Yeah, that we're behind in life.
Mm-hmm. And then also comparing yourself to others can make you.
That's what I think my thing is. Yeah.
So they gave like 7 tips, 7 or 8, but I'm just going to mention a couple of them.
Okay.
And then one of those tips was keep a dragon journal. And they identify dragons as a list of tasks or projects that feel scary, boring, tedious, or difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So they say make this list and then tackle one a day.
I've heard that. Do something every day that scares you.
Yeah,
that's like a Lululemon ad.
I actually have that on my board.
Okay.
My whiteboard at work. It also mentioned creating routines because this minimizes decision making. Without a routine, you tend to expend a lot of mental energy deciding moment by moment. And reading that was kind of a revelation to me because, like, I think I've said this before, I'm not a very scheduled person. It's hard for me to get on track. But I see that when a routine is in place, I could do so much better.
Sure.
I can excel. So
I can think of a time when I was super fit and getting up and running was just part of my routine. Like if it was at 4:30 in the morning in the dark, like I would never do that now just because I'm scared of everything. But
I think it gets
I benefit as you get older.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
I think it is. It's part of being overwhelming. Like adulting being overwhelming. I think that's just part of it. And then there's a piece about detaching your self-worth from your success. And I think that kind of goes.
I love that.
That's connected to what we were talking about before, having all those goals. And just because you haven't met one doesn't mean you're not successful.
And a lot of our goals have to do with other people, and you can't control what other people do. Right. So if your goals are connected to, let's say, a job position, then you're putting, that can be fine. But if your self-worth is tied to that, then you're allowing someone else to decide your value.
Right.
And they don't even know all your issues. Don't make us an outside person don't give them that much control.
Don't give anybody that much control over you or how you feel about yourself. Another one was eliminate tolerations. And that says that's usually small things that we put off doing or ignore because they seem insignificant or important. That's something like picking up the mail. We could leave the mail.
Personal attack.
And then, maybe we go pick up the mail, but we let it pile up. And that creates clutter. And then over time, that could be a big problem. Because when you see that, you're like, oh, I got to tackle that. I got to tackle that. And then the other one that I saw that I'm going to mention, the last one, is refocus. You're frustrated, you're anxious, you're sad. Pause, take a deep breath and identify what you're feeling. And when you do this, you bring the problem-solving centers of your brain back online and you become able to navigate the situation more effectively.
Okay.
And you ask yourself, what's your priority right now? And what am I trying to accomplish?
So are those all the steps?
No, I just kind of picked a few of them, but that's all I'm going to mention.
So how does that help me if I've, for example, graduated from college and can't find a job in my field or I can't support myself?
How does
this advice help me? Because that's a lot of people face that now and they feel like failures. Some people have to move back in with their parents.
Yeah.
Like a failure to launch is really common right now.
Well, I think that most important tip then would be the not tying your self-worth to your success.
Right.
And then making that list, trying a journal.
Yeah.
They did actually have a tip in there that said, don't underestimate the power of help. And that included maybe using a life coach. And if your issue is financial, maybe getting a financial planner or a therapist. So you can use other resources, talk to people in your family that your loved ones that may have tips for you, use them as resources, because just because you have to move back home doesn't necessarily equate to failure.
Right.
And it should not diminish your self-worth.
That's a good point. I feel too like adulting is all about humbling yourself.
It is.
Yeah. So maybe you got to, take that job at Starbucks like everybody else. Stop thinking you are high and mighty.
Right. Because, right. Because you're not always going to find the job in the field because you hit up that wall where they said, well, you don't have any experience.
Or you got too much education or too much experience.
Exactly.
Which is ridiculous.
Exactly. So sometimes you have to accept and decide for yourself that you got to start small.
Yeah, you got to be real.
Yeah.
And that's hard because looking for a job is a full-time job.
It is.
And you feel like you don't want your skills to be outdated because then you'll never get a job in your field. But,
yeah,
that's not necessarily so. And you might have to adjust your expectations.
Adjust, not lower, because we don't want to lower our expectations.
Okay, yep, you're right.
Okay.
Lower expectations. You don't remember that? Okay, go ahead.
No, I don't. Anyway, so that's adulting, folks. This article, as I mentioned, is talking about overwhelming when you're overwhelmed with being an adult, and it's from psychcentral.com.
Cool.
Let's take a break.
All righty. Yay!
Kari.
Yes.
Can you introduce us to our author?
Arthur, I love that show.
Author.
Show can.
Kiley Reid.
Mm-hmm.
And give us some context about the book if you have it.
Kiley Reid was born in 1984 in LA, raised in Tucson, Arizona. She currently lives with her husband in Philly. Such a Fun Age is her first novel. Now, Kiley Reid is a recent graduate of the Iowa Writers Workshop. And that is a 2-year residency program which culminates in the submission of a creative thesis, which can be a novel, it can be a collection of stories, or a book of poetry, and the awarding of a Master of Fine Arts degree.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So she also was the recipient of the Truman Capote Fellowship.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
He was known to be a great writer, right?
He was.
Okay.
The Breakfast at Tiffany's. Kiley Reid was at Shakespeare and Company in Philadelphia when she saw her debut novel, Such a Fun Age. You're thinking Paris, right? That's what I was thinking. Yeah. I guess it's also a bookstore in Philly.
Okay.
But she saw her book on the shelf and, that was cool. But then she saw it on the reserved section. Someone had called ahead to make sure it was there. Cool. All the gooses, all the bumps.
Yes.
And just backing up a little, she wrote this book while, being a barista, which you've taught us is a lawyer.
No.
In Arkansas. No. Just kidding. I know. She was making the lattes and stuff. So you see, she wanted to be a novelist. She had to take a job making lattes, 2 actually coffee shops she worked in, I think, while she was writing this book.
Okay.
So, a little adjustment didn't change her path. I love that.
I also read that she was a nanny.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay, maybe
that she was.
There's some inspiration for our protagonist from her. Okay.
Yeah, she said she took this story from her experience as a nanny.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So, Kari.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us a brief synopsis without spoilers before our deep dive?
Sure. Such a Fun Age is a story contrasting who we are as individuals against the role we've been cast to play by society. It follows Emira, a Black 25-year-old girl who feels she's failing at adult life, and her white 30-something boss, Alix, who teeters around her own looming failures. As the two make efforts to dissolve their differences, a shocking realization shows the futility of doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. Or the New York Times also covered this book, and their title I thought was perfect. When it comes to race, how progressive are the progressives?
Ooh.
Yeah. So, Alexis, what were your first thoughts of Such a Fun Age?
I didn't have any.
Okay. Had you heard about this book at all?
No, only when you introduced it to me.
Okay.
And so I've flown maybe a couple times. I don't even remember seeing it. But the thing is, it wasn't out yet. That's why.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it just came out like the end of December.
Yeah, December 31st it was released.
Okay.
So yeah, not much thoughts. But I did read it. The intro somewhere, I think I was on Goodreads, and I read a child gets kidnapped. And I was like, oh, this is
a spy.
Interesting. Yeah. And then I was kind of excited by the title. I thought it was going to be fun and exciting, right? And so then I thought that first, and then I thought I saw the clip about the child being kidnapped, and I was like, okay, I don't know.
So you went into this book with confusion.
Yeah, much confusion.
He was confusion.
What were your first thoughts?
Did I have any? I didn't really have any. I just knew it was very popular and that there was a Black girl who wrote it. So I was like, okay, I'll read it. And I did.
Hey.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, good. Let's get started. That's okay. It works out. Let's get started in our deep dive, which will be full of spoilers. Kari, are you ready?
Yes, I'm very much ready.
You have the floor.
Okay. A deep dive into Such a Fun Age by Kiley Reid. Part 1. Babysitting while Black. So Emira is out with her friends. Out, but like in, I think they're at Shawnee's house. Her friend Shawnee is celebrating her 26th year. And celebrating with her is Shawnee's roommate, Josefa, and Amira's best friend, Zara. So they're, the girls together, drinking, chatting.
Hanging out.
Having a good time.
And I think there's other people there too, right?
Some guys walk in and they're like, hey. And everyone's like, hey. And they're like, hey, it's going to be great. At that moment, Emira gets a phone call. It's her boss. Now, Amira's boss is a woman with one child named Briar. And Briar is Amira's favorite little human. She babysits for the mom. Briar's mom calls and says her husband's broken a window and she doesn't want the child to see when the police arrive. So Amira's like, okay, but I'm not quite dressed as a babysitter. And 2, I've been drinking.
And
the mom is like, yeah, I don't care. Just hurry up, okay? And I'll pay for your Uber here and back. And, we'll even increase your fee for, just come.
I'll pay you double.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Zara agrees to leave with Emira. So they leave. They go get Briar and take her to the grocery store, which is about 3 blocks away, to look at the nuts. Briar is 2, growing on 3, and she's just really into looking at nuts right now. So they just take her to distract her. Briar is such an inquisitive, fun child.
Yeah.
It's really like no problem. They're dancing in the aisles to Whitney Houston. Suddenly, a woman suspects Emira of criminal activity. So there are other people in the grocery store. There's a guy with a Penn State sweatshirt on, and there's this woman who passed her while Zara, Emira, and baby Briar were like dancing in the aisles. Right. Well, mostly Zara and Emira, because Briar is like, you dancing and ain't no music. Briar is hilarious.
He's so cute.
The woman approaches Emira with a security guard. Excuse me, ma'am. Footsteps followed, and when Emira turned around, a gold security badge blinked and glittered in her face. On top it read Public Safety, and the bottom curve read Philadelphia. Briar pointed up at the face. That, she said, is not the mailman. Emira swallowed and heard herself say, oh, hi. The man stood in front of her and placed his thumbs in his belt loops, but he did not say hello back. Emira touched her hair and said, are you guys closing or something? She knew this store would stay open for another 45 minutes. It stayed open, clean, and stocked until midnight on weekends. But she wanted him to hear the way she could talk. From behind the security guard's dark sideburns, at the other end of the aisle, Emira saw another face. The gray-haired, athletic-looking woman who had appeared to be touched by Briar's dancing folded her arms over her chest. She'd set her grocery basket down by her feet. Ma'am, the guard said. Emira looked up at his large mouth and small eyes. He looked like the type of person to have a big family, the kind that spends holidays together for the entire day, from start to finish, and not the type of person to use ma'am in passing. It's very late for someone this small, he said. Is this your child? No, Emira laughed. I'm her babysitter. All right, well, he said. With all due respect, you don't look like you've been babysitting tonight. Emira found herself arranging her mouth as if she'd ingested something too hot. She caught a morphed reflection in a freezer door, and she saw herself in her entirety. Her face, full brown lips, a tiny nose, and a high forehead covered with black bangs barely showed up in the reflection. Her black skirt, her slinky V-neck top, and her liquid eyeliner refused to take shape in the panels of thick glass. All she could see was something very dark and skinny, and the top of a small blonde stick of hair that belonged to Briar Chamberlain. Kay? she exhaled. I'm her babysitter, and her mom called me because, hi, I'm so sorry. Hi. From the end of the aisle, the woman came forward, and her very used tennis shoes squeaked against the tile floor. She put a hand to her chest. I'm a mom, and I heard the little girl say that she's not with her mom, and since it's so late, I got a little nervous. Emira looked at the woman and half laughed. The sentiments felt childish, but all she could think was, you really just told on me right now. And the security guard begins asking Emira demeaning questions, asking things like, how do you know this child? Then they start talking to the child instead of Emira. Hi, little girl.
Rude.
How do you know this woman? What's this woman's name?
I hate that.
How old are you? Where is your mom? The child again, 2. So she replies with nonsense, but they will not allow Emira to leave with Briar. Can you imagine? No. So the babysitter is at the supermarket and told she can't leave with the baby. Emira calls Briar's dad, Peter, who runs to the store. Right. Because it's only 3 blocks away. He lectures the security guard about holding someone unlawfully. And the guy with the Penn State pullover was recording the whole thing. Right. Now, we're not going deep into this, but there are a few more details there where, if you're reading the book, I urge you to really consider the situation, which is very realistic. It could definitely happen. Unfortunately. Yes. So there are a lot of reasons why they're keeping Emira and have suspected her of criminal activity, quote unquote. And they boil down to the way she looks versus the way Briar looks. The man who was recording with his cell phone follows Emira when she leaves out. So Emira holds out her hand and she's like, I don't really want to put that on the news or anything. Can you please delete the video? And he's like, okay, I'll email it to you. And look, I've deleted it. His name is Kiley Copeland. He urges her to take that video to the media. But again, that's not what she's interested in. She just wants the whole situation she's kind of playing it off like it wasn't a big deal. I just don't want to even talk about it or relive it again. Yeah, I don't want to deal with that. She gets back to her apartment and cries. Mm-hmm. Now, let's get into Briar's mom. She was a blogger majoring in marketing and finance from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Peter, her husband, was a journalist major turned newscaster raised in upstate New York. He was 8 years older than her. He is 8 years older than her and believed in her blog. They were married. Quite supportive. Yeah, very supportive. He wanted her to take it seriously, talk about it like it's a real business, and it will be. They were married when she was 28. The party favor shoes and white wine they served were secured by Alix because she writes brands, leaving reviews or, what influencers do. So they'll write a brand and say, I'll promote your product if you send me a sample. Time goes by. She hosts a cover letter workshop where one of the attendees is an Instagram influencer with over 30,000 followers. The influencer publishes the letter Alix helped her write, along with a stack of acceptance letters from universities. Alix becomes a brand, empowering women to speak up. So she loves writing. She loves writing letters specifically, and she takes that skill, that skill that she's sharpened over the years and becomes Let Her Speak, which is like her brand and also hashtag. You get it? Let her. Okay. However, she herself was often shocked at the amount of credit and responsibility companies gave her. Yeah. She was asked to speak with small business owners at conferences and lectures. So there's a contradiction here. We find later that Briar is a child that is always talking, and Alix hates this. That was so sad to me. Yeah. That was hard to listen to. Yeah. So Alix is campaigning for women's voices publicly while simultaneously being shocked and appalled by how much her own daughter speaks. Anyway, there is an event that forever changes the trajectory of Let Her Speak, hashtag Let Her Speak. She is speaking at a lecture, because that's what you do. You lecture at lectures. Sorry for the redundancy. And Briar is in the front row with one of Alix's interns. Briar is getting fussy. She's hungry. And so Alix announces to the audience, I can do both. She goes down, gets her daughter, puts a t-shirt over her face, breastfeeds her, and continues with the interviewer lecture.
Go moms.
Yeah, the women are like wooing, and they're like, you go, girl. She wins praise for nursing her daughter while on stage. And this bold move leads to a book deal and an opportunity to work with Hillary Clinton's campaign. Up, up, up.
Shit, no place but up.
Now, when she got pregnant, her husband was like, should we move to your hometown, Philly, from New York? Because, we want our kids to not grow up next to fake Gucci purses and, locked bodegas. We want them to have a yard and a neighborhood. She's like, no, because her business is doing so well. She sees her goals. They're spread out on the table in front of her, and they're in her reach.
What'd she say? I have like 7 more years here.
Yeah,
She's like, I got time. I ain't ready to go and do that housewife stuff.
But then she gets pregnant again, and then he don't even ask. He's like, I'm calling a broker in Philly.
Enough of this.
What is she supposed to say? So their growing family moves from New York to Philadelphia. Behind her, Alix leaves her mother, her mother-in-law, which was also her babysitter, her friends, and her interns. As she's interviewing for babysitters, she finds a girl that is checking the right boxes, and she's like, I'll give her a chance. She shows up, and it's Emira. Alix did not expect her to be black, but Alix is progressive, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Come on in. Awkward. A little awkward, but she hires Emira for this babysitting gig with little Briar. Alix is very happy that Emira has no idea what #LetHerSpeak is. In fact, when she comes over, in order to not mess up her clothes, Emira, I think, asks for a shirt, right?
She does.
And so Alix gives her a shirt that says #LetHerSpeak on it.
Right.
And then every day when Emira comes to watch Briar, she just puts on a Let Her Speak shirt. She has no idea what that is.
Right.
In fact, she asked Emira, oh, you're writing a book? Is it like a history book?
No, some letters. She's like, is it
and
a
Alix
history
is
book?
like, yeah, kind of. Okay. So Emira thinks Alix is like writing a history book.
Right.
And she pictures her like going to the library, digging through the archives. Okay. Now, Peter had dreams of being a huge newscaster in New York City. It didn't quite work out. So when they returned to Philadelphia, there's a little more opportunity for him. And he is now on a daily show on WNFT. He runs a segment. Let's talk about why there was such an emergency for Briar to be watched the night that Emira was with her friend.
Let's chat about it.
So on this news segment for WNFT,
newscaster lady.
They are at the high school in the area, the local high school, recording students asking each other to the big homecoming dance. So students are like getting pulled into the center of the basketball court in front of the whole class, or, it's like a tradition. The last student featured is a black boy asking a white girl to the dance. At the end of the segment, his co-host, Lainey, Peter's co-host, Lainey, is like, oh, that's amazing. No one ever asked me to the dance like that. And Peter's like, ho, ho, ho. Let's just hope the last girl asks her father first. The backlash was immediate. And guess what? Some kids egged their house, and those eggs broke the window.
Yeah.
They called the police, and they wanted Briar out so as to not see the drama. Okay. So after this incident, at first Alix is thinking, if it didn't happen in New York, did it even happen? Who cares? No one's going to know about this. But that clip from the segment becomes viral. And now everyone outside of the news, everyone online is calling Peter a racist. Why did he even say that? Why does the last girl have to ask her dad and the other ones don't?
Right.
Now, you can think what you want about Peter at this point.
We do.
No doubt you will form your own conclusion. But again, Alix tells him it's not a big deal. And the station gets behind him as if this was like a hazing period.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
It was like, yeah, you got your first hazing. Go for it.
But after the house gets egged, Alix starts to think, Do I even know my babysitter? Does she know what Peter said? I have to get to know Emira Tucker.
Yeah.
Emira was the first to graduate. A little background on Emira. She was the first to graduate from college in her family. She went to Temple University, majored in English. She went to transcription school, hated it, found her way to babysitting. She keeps this from her parents who still think she's in transcription school. Briar, as we said before, is her favorite little person. Have you ever babysat?
I don't think so.
Okay, I have. And it is really easy to get attached to people's kids.
Oh, I believe that. I do believe that.
And then you like leave the house and it's like leaving your kids. And you like, wait, what? I remember leaving after I watched maybe 4 kids for about 4 days. And then their parents came home. I was like, what is this? Why? First of all, how are y'all just walking in our house? And now I'm supposed to take money and leave
our house?
Yeah.
We have made this our home.
Yeah. We having a good time. Go back away. Go away. No one missed you. So that's kind of how Emira feels about Briar. She just loves this little girl. She doesn't know much about her parents, and that's fine with Emira. She doesn't feel like she needs to.
So fine with that.
And it's so unique, her relationship with Briar, because children in general annoy Emira.
Yeah.
She doesn't find them interesting. They're too shy, too eager to please. Briar is more complex. She asks questions. She is interesting. However, Emira is 25, and in a few months, she will be taken off of her parents' insurance.
So she got some
So she needs a real job. She needs to become a real adult with a real job and real insurance. This is what's on Amira's mind. But she's also torn because she doesn't want to ever leave Briar.
Right. That's sweet.
So Briar has a birthday party. Alix hates everyone there. It's full of Peter's coworkers who are like patting him on the back, and random moms that Alix has met and kind of befriended in Philadelphia.
And she is unimpressed.
Whatever. The only one she doesn't hate there in her mind is Emira. So she's forming this relationship with Emira mentally before she's even talked to the girl, like had a real conversation with her. She just feels like when Emira leaves, she's like, oh, Emira, don't leave me. Also, the gifts here are like pretty sexist. They're like little baby makeup stuff. And Emira just gets Briar a goldfish. Part 2, white love triangle. So Kelly Copeland, the guy who recorded the incident.
I remember him.
Yeah. The Penn State sweatshirt wearing guy. He meets Emira again on a train randomly one evening.
So random.
Yeah. And he's like, so.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey, what you doing tonight? Can I get you a drink? And she like, it's like the first thought you have when the white boy gives you his game. And you like, I mean, sure. Okay. So she tells him, listen, I have plans for tonight, but if you want, you can meet me and my friends. I'm not going to give you my number, but you have my email address because you emailed me the video. Email me and let me know if you're going to meet us at the bar we're going to. On the train, he tells a stranger, that's my girlfriend. And Amira's like, what? And he's like, yeah, she always does this. And the stranger's like, oh, that's so cute. And he's like, bye, hun. See you at home. So, that's his little game. That's like his way of
endearing himself to
there
her.
We go. So, to her surprise, he shows up.
He showed up, girl.
He showed up at the bar where she is with her friends. And it's in this moment where she's like, well, he probably was never going to come. He never emailed me. And then her friend Shawnee, who we met at the beginning, is like gorgeous. So she's like, he probably would have just liked Shawnee anyway. So who cares? So he does come, though, and he comes with 5 black friends.
5 fine black friends.
It is noticeable, though, that they are all black, and he's the only, white person with them. So Shawnee's roommate, Josepha, asks, I mean, he's real cute or whatever, but does someone want to tell me why all his friends are black?
Ooh.
And so Amira, Zara, and Shawnee roll their heads toward their friend. Amira put a fist under her chin. I don't know, Safa. Why are yours? This is when I realized, oh, Josefa ain't like black, but she's Latina. So it feels like, you're still a minority.
So one interesting thing that I thought as I was reading is that she doesn't necessarily reveal races immediately. Mm-hmm. She allows the people to
draw their own conclusions.
Yeah, and then it's revealed to you.
And then are you surprised by what you decided? Because I didn't know Kiley was white until Josefa brought it up.
Yeah, I had no idea he was white.
Maybe it was mentioned, but I didn't notice.
No, they never mentioned it.
Yeah.
That's one thing I noticed about it.
So they go back to his place. This is Emira and Kiley. He's in tech, so he has like some coins and an adult place with adult things in it.
Adult like.
He's also 32 years old, 6 years older than her. That doesn't bother her. He feels a little weird about it. Yeah, they pursue a relationship.
Yeah, he seemed to be weirded out by that.
Yeah. She also sees from the things in his apartment that he's from Allentown. She can't remember who she knows from Allentown. Now, this is written in third person, so the author kind of gives us a wink here and lets us know right out the gate what Emira does not know is that Kiley ruined Alix Murphy's senior year in the spring of 2000 before she became Alix Chamberlain.
Whoa.
Oh. I was like, clutch them pearls.
Yes.
So, to be clear, this new love interest ruined her boss's senior year. How? We don't know.
We don't know yet.
We do not know. Moving on. So Alix is now obsessed with Emira. She must know what Emira is thinking. Why did Emira act that way? What can I do to get in good with Emira? What does Emira want?
This is so weird to me. It's next level weird.
Alix makes awkward attempts to get closer to Emira. She shares wine with her.
I like it too. From the table, Alix held her glass and looked at the color. In her other arm, Catherine was receiving a bottle, which Alix administered with one hand. Are you a wine person or no? I mean, I like it, Emira said. She set her glass at the other end of the table, then took the books from underneath her arm and set those down too. But I'm used to drinking like box wine, so yeah, I'm no connoisseur. There were moments like this that Alix tried to breeze over, but that got stuck somewhere between her heart and ears. She knew Emira had gone to college. She knew Emira had majored in English. But sometimes, after seeing her pause songs with titles like Y'all Already Know, and then hearing her use words like connoisseur, Alix was filled with feelings that went from confused and highly impressed to low and guilty in response to the first reaction. There was no reason for Emira to be unfamiliar with this word, and there was no reason for Alix to be impressed. Alix completely knew these things, but only when she reminded herself to stop thinking them in the first place.
As they're spending time together, this is now Emira and Kiley, the love interest, the Penn State, the white boy. Kiley shares with Emira how he broke up with his high school girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever she was. Mm-hmm. We know who she was. We know.
Alix.
First of all, she was the richest girl in his school.
Mm-hmm.
They went on a class trip once, and as she was boarding the plane, she just left her luggage in the middle of the aisle and sat down. And he's like, opens the bin to put the luggage in. She goes, "Don't touch the plane." She's only flown first class. She don't know that coach life. Anyway, when he broke up with her, this is the line he used. Are you ready, Alexis?
Yeah, let's hear it.
"I think it would be best if we went our separate ways and that those paths never again connected." Whatever.
I had to read that a couple of times. Yeah. Like, wait, what?
The reader is then plucked from this conversation with Kiley and Emira into a flashback. So Alix has a flashback where she's back in New York with her girls. They're at brunch and, they're shooting the breeze. They're sharing their most embarrassing stories.
Ooh.
I have to say, one of her friends works in production and she hires kids to be in commercials.
Oh, that was
so her kid goes to school and goes, mommy takes kids into a private room and tapes them. And if they cry, she doesn't ask them to come back. But if they're good, they get to come back over and over again. And she's got to come to her kid's school and explain that, no, I'm not a pedophile. I work in production.
Yeah, she really had to do that too. That was such a hilarious
That was funny.
story.
There is a lot of laugh out loud moments for me with this book.
I agree.
Okay, cool.
I do.
So it's time for Alix to share her most embarrassing story. And here it is.
Uh-oh.
So in high school, she dated a guy that was below her a year and also below her in class. And I don't mean junior, senior. I mean, she was rich. He was not. So her thing has always been writing letters. She used to write him letters all the time. And these letters, she would like pour out her heart, things people would be too embarrassed to say. Alix, as she went by at the time, would say those things in her letters to Kiley. One letter, however, invited Kiley to her home when her parents wouldn't be out of town. It included the code for her gate and a map to her room. Ooh!
I'm telling you, that was a lot.
Alix.
I mean, it was detailed.
It was. And she also like drew where their pool was.
Gave them the key code.
Yeah. So at home would be the nanny, her little sister, and her parents gone. Kiley does come over. However, so does Robbie and what sounds like 50 friends.
Did seem like a lot.
I'm exaggerating, but a lot of kids come over headed by Robbie, who was like the star athlete of the school. He was very popular, but did not talk to Alix or Alix as we know her now. They weren't friends. And how did he even know to come? Alix assumes that Kiley invited Robbie over. Kiley doesn't really say anything to make her think otherwise. He's like, who cares? Let them in. She don't need to let them in because they know the code for the gate.
Right.
They let themselves in. They're jumping in the pool, hanging out, climbing on neighbors' property.
I mean,
they are like at manic level.
They gotta go.
They're high school kids.
Yeah.
And they feel like they're at a country club with no supervision. Okay. It should be noted that Robbie, the star athlete, is black. So a black boy comes in with 50 billion students and they're like hanging out at her place. So what would you have done in that situation, Alexis?
Called the police.
Okay. So this is interesting because I'm not disagreeing with you. However, in that situation,
I'm not his friend.
Okay, I got you. But there is a nanny there. In this situation, who's the authority, in your opinion?
Well, I would think it would be the nanny.
I would think that this adult, the only adult in the home, is the one left in charge. The nanny goes to Alexis's room. Sorry, I keep saying your name.
You do. Stop it.
Alix's room and says, should I call the police? Alix decides, yes, let's call the police. The police come. The kids scatter. They catch Robbie. They find cocaine in his pocket. Ooh. He loses his scholarship. And the conversation is that his life is now ruined. Alix becomes infamous. Kiley is like, why did you call the police? Why did you ruin Robbie's life? Between you and me, I would have, if I was the authority in that situation, also called the police. I'm going to freely admit that. And recorded everybody, because my fear is always that you'll call the police and then things will go way wrong.
Yep. Yeah, she called the police. I would have called the police too.
There has to be some compassion here for the fact that she didn't invite these kids over. She is assuming in the moment that this love letter she wrote to Kiley with the code for her gate and all of that, he shared with the star athlete, with Robbie. She's furious. She still wants to be with Kiley, but he breaks up with her. And there's like the stigma that she's deeply uncool now. People feel like you got all of this, you got a pool, you got a jacuzzi, and you ain't gonna share?
You ain't sharing all your goodness.
Okay, massa. Kids start passing in her hall like, how's the plantation, massa?
They really went in on her after she called the police.
They did, and she becomes the pariah of her school.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the future. Emira is looking forward to a performance at Briar's ballet school. She's brought Briar some little cat ears to wear, and they've been preparing a routine for weeks. But as Emira is on her way to get Briar, she gets a call from Alix. The goldfish you bought my daughter is dead. Oh my goodness, can you please replace it? And Emira is like, okay, but I'm going to miss the ballet performance. And she goes, that's okay. She's going to dress up for Halloween next week. It's fine if she misses this.
And she won't remember anyway.
So this bothers Emira for a few reasons. First of all, she's annoyed that Alix refuses to be honest about this small thing about a dead goldfish. And goldfish die like if you look at them wrong. So this is going to happen again. When am I supposed to keep buying goldfish?
Right. It just doesn't make sense.
But be honest with your daughter. She's also sees this as a lack of desire to communicate from the mom to the daughter. And she's noticing that Catherine, which is the baby who favors Alix, she looks like the mom more. She's quiet. She's cute to hold. She's becoming the favorite. And Briar is being ignored more and more.
And Briar notices it too.
And Briar is noticing it too. This is also where we see a bad habit being formed by Alix. When she enters like the vestibule of her home, I guess Amira's phone is being charged in that space. So there's a closed front door and a closed door to the rest of the home. So it's like a little private moment before you enter the home. And she is scrolling through Amira's text messages, Alix is, reading them to get to know more about Emira. Instead of talking to her, she's violating her privacy.
Weird.
And the thing is, the text messages pop up in full without you entering the code for the cell phone. So it's easy to do and no one's the wiser. Now, back to the friends. So Shawnee, who's the really beautiful one who had the birthday in the beginning, she gets a promotion, an adult job at Sony. Emira is
with adulting
so
dollars.
Yeah, it should be noted that Shawnee also comes from like upper middle class or upper class family. So they have like a chain of laundromats in the South.
Yep.
So she's beautiful. She's got money. She's got security. And Amira's jealous, crazy jealous. So while she's like stewing in her own jelly, Emira calls Kelly for a boost. And he is kind and thoughtful. How do you feel about Kelly? They're not an official relationship at this point. What do you think of him?
Yeah, I like him.
I did like him, right? The way he talked to her.
Yep.
Their relationship wasn't defined by his whiteness or her blackness, but it wasn't ignored either.
Mm-mm.
Because again, he was the one who recorded the interaction at the market. And he was telling her, you might need this. When she said, I don't want to send it to media. I need you to delete it. At this point, we feel that's what he's done. And, I'm on his team.
Yeah, I'm definitely team him. I think if they mentioned in the book that they didn't really talk about it, but it was, they both acknowledged their
differences.
Yeah. So it was interesting.
Thanksgiving. So
1955.
Okay. So Alix is inviting her New York posse to Thanksgiving.
Hey,
she's finally going to see her girls. She ain't seen them in too long. She hasn't seen them in months. She's super excited. She's doing all this kitschy stuff around her house with the decorations, even the food, which she's having catered. And she really wants Emira to be there. However, Amira's planning to fly to see her own parents. Well, as she's secretly scrolling through Amira's phone in like the vestibule area, she sees that Amira's flight's been canceled. So she enters and she casually goes, Amira, it's really bad outside. I hate to say it, but maybe check your flight. So of course, Emira sees that her flight's canceled. Alix invites her to Alix's home for Thanksgiving, and shyly, reluctantly, Emira agrees. She arrives to Alix's home for Thanksgiving with Kiley, who is tall, fine, wearing a red sweater, jeans, and a black duster coat. I kind of saw him in my mind. If he's a celebrity, the rights to this book were purchased by Lena Waithe.
Yes, I saw that.
So in the movie or miniseries,
Who would he be?
Who's Kiley?
I would say one of those twin boys.
What twin boys? The house people? What twin boys?
No. So I was thinking maybe one of the twins, the one that plays Thor.
He's not a twin. They're brothers.
Oh, I thought they were twins.
He's like too fine. Oh, the one that used to be
really
married
fine?
to Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, the other one.
Sure. Okay, yes. What is his name?
I can't think of it right now.
Liam Hemsworth.
Yes.
So you see Liam Hemsworth as Kiley.
Yeah.
And who's Emira?
Well, I don't know. I have to think
That's
about
okay. That's Normani.
She into actress things.
She would be. We could get her in there. Yep.
Ooh,
okay.
Ooh, okay.
All right. She can do it.
Sure.
And who's Alix?
Oh,
go ahead.
Okay. So for real, some really, really white woman. You know, I'm a fan of Amy Adams. So Amy Adams to play her, or I couldn't come up with a name right off, but I did think, I really thought about it when I saw the movie.
Do you know who Sarah Paulson is?
Yes, but I don't think her.
She's maybe not out of that age range, but I always casted her in my mind as Sarah Paulson.
Really?
So that's okay. Yep. Or Reese, since Reese loves the book.
Yes, that's the one I came up with first.
I want it to be someone I don't feel attached to.
No, it's got to be Reese because I think she could do that role.
Yeah, she could do it, but and she might be out of that age range also.
She might be, but I think she could do it.
Okay. So we got Liam Hemsworth and Normani standing at the door, and Reese Witherspoon opens. That's Alix. She opens the door to her babysitter. And she is ripped from her semi-successful mid-30s life into her high school years as she recognizes Kiley. Instantly, she crumbles. Part 3, X lies and videotape. So, Alix has a meltdown. All the women, all of her New York posse gather into a closet upstairs and she breaks down the situation. They like, you lying. She like, no, I wish I was. And then she's like, oh my goodness, Kiley is here with Emira. What world is this? Oh my goodness, how intimate are they? Oh my goodness, we all know how intimate they are. Oh my goodness, I can't take it. Among her New York posse is Black Tamara. Now, Black Tamara is the only Black woman in her white friends. There's nothing wrong with that. But Black Tamara is problematic. She takes it upon herself to excuse Emira from the rest of the group to help her fold silverware into napkins. And while they're chatting, she's like, so sister girl, touching her braids. You afraid to go natural?
That's too much.
How long is your real hair?
I don't like her.
You don't like Black Well, duh. She the worst.
I don't like her.
She is, what is she doing? She is wearing her blackness is like a shawl that she throws on and maybe tosses off. So that because you're constantly picking up and putting it down, it ain't you.
Yeah.
And maybe like identify who you are a little more and stop projecting your insecurities about being Black in a white world onto me. Don't ask me about my natural hair. That's weird and stupid.
That's so weird and stupid.
Yeah. And it's not natural. Don't do that.
Oh, you scared to go natural? Oh, come on. Get out of here with
also,
that.
don't like aggressively befriend me.
And it was aggressive. And that's why I took the most offense to it.
Let's be people here, okay? I'm here with my white boyfriend. We can all be friends.
She couldn't be regular with her.
Just be regular.
Just be regular.
And then, maybe we'll share soda looks across the table.
Yeah, but she's not that friend. She can't do it.
But she ain't real enough.
She's not. She don't know that.
She's not real enough. Nope. That's what it is. Nope. So that's Black Tamara. Now, Kiley texts Emira, yo, your boss is my girlfriend from high school. I am ready to go. Also, someone mentions at the party, Emira, you haven't seen Blackish? It's such an important show. This is weird. So Peter stands up, gives a toast, thanks all the women for supporting his wife, including Emira. Around a chaotic table full of very white people, including Black Tamara, Emira notices Briar is ignored and quiet. Briar has just a moment ago said to no one that her tummy hurt.
Yep.
Her mom ignored her in favor of Catherine, who is the favorite child. Emira lunges across the table to catch Briar sick with a very expensive napkin. Kiley wraps his hands around Amira's waist, catching her. In her obsession with pleasing Emira, Alix has formed a possessive impulse around her. So at seeing the hands of someone who once steadied her hyper spirit after high school games and was the first to touch her intimately, seeing those same hands around Emira, she is driven insane with jealousy of both Kiley and Emira. Her thought is, get your hands off of my babysitter. That's my babysitter. That's my African American. Oop. So in the bathroom upstairs, Briar confides in Emira that she doesn't like when Catherine is the favorite. Don't like when Catherine's the favorite. And so this is a really somber moment where Emira takes Briar's knees into her hands and tells her about family. I don't like when Catherine be's the favorite. Emira stopped. She hung the washcloth on the side of the sink and sat back on her heels. What did you say? I don't like when Catherine be's a little favorite to Mama. I don't like that. Briar had stopped crying, and she said this with a calm and specific certainty, both that she had explained it correctly and that this was, in fact, how she felt. Emira pressed her lips together. B, you know what? As she formulated her words, Emira held Briar's knees in both of her hands and thought, this is the littlest your knees will ever be. You can have favorite ice cream or favorite cereal, but guess what? When you have a family, everyone is the same. Do you have a family? Briar put her fingers in her mouth. Yes. Do you have a mama? Yes. And a daddy? Yes. And a sister? Yes. Exactly. That's your family. And in families, everyone is always the same. Briar touched her shoulders. How come? Well, in Amira's family, Justine was so obviously the favorite. But Emira was her brother's favorite, and so it seemed to even out. Her mother favored Alfie when it came to Christmas gifts, and her father favored Emira when it came to birthdays and phone calls. Emira didn't figure this out until high school, but Briar was doing so at the tender age of 3. Emira looked at the little person on the toilet and felt as if she were pushing an enormous boat out into the ocean. She slumped as if the situation were completely out of her hands and said, "'Cause that's what family means. Family means no favorites." Emira and Kiley leave. There's a line here I thought was really interesting about when they leave. Emira had all those feelings of leaving a movie theater and realizing that it was dark outside and that it had been for some time. So it's like they were in this other world.
Yeah.
And then they entered to the air and the night, and it's like reality is hitting them. Kiley, on their way to his place, takes Emira to a John Wayne-ish bar and tells her that she can't keep working for Alix. They have an emotional moment in the bar's vestibule, and he implies that he loves her. Back at his place, Emira puts into words the irritations she has about 3 things. First, her job. 2, his obsession with this market tape. Now, at the Thanksgiving table, he brought up how they met and again brought up the tape that she never wants to bring up again.
Right.
So he's despite her wishes, still kind of trying to push her to publicize that tape. And lastly, her issues with Alix, she brings up. She also mentions to him, you can't take me to any more old white man bars. And that's a pointed statement about Black people in white spaces and safety, and how people cannot feel safe in the same setting that someone else takes for granted all the time and always feel safe. This is a bar he probably goes to all the time.
Yeah, he said, would I take you there if I didn't feel comfortable?
But it's not about how you feel.
About that. And don't forget, I'm a Black woman.
Yeah. Yeah. So he also wants to talk about love. She doesn't, and they don't. Moving on. So Black Tamara has a real moment in her fake life, where she breaks down at brunch with the girls what type of man Kelly is. So Alix has been, of course, stalking Kelly on the internet all these years, going through his social media account. And it seems after he broke up with Alix, Kelly started dating Robbie's sister, maybe? Or cousin?
Cousin. I think it was a cousin, whatever.
And then there was another black girl. And then there was another black girl. And so behind Kelly is a string of black love. And Alix is like, hey, you guys, I'm not racist, but that's weird, right? And so Black Tamara goes, actually, Alix, it's not weird. It's racist. Kelly is one of those white guys that not only goes out of his way to date black women, but only dates black women. People like him act like some sort of martyr, like they're taking one for the team. And look at me. Look at how generous I am. I'm dating a black woman. I'm a good person. Black Tamara tells Alix, look, you're in Philly. You're stuck in a rut. What you're going to do is go back to working regularly in New York City. You're going to tell your babysitter what you know about her boyfriend, and you're going to try your best to protect her. Black Tamara probably has some age issues where she feels like Tamara is the little quote unquote sister, and you got to help the sister. And she keeps saying, you're the best thing to happen probably ever in her life to her.
Insert more eye rolls right here.
She don't know her. Okay. So, Alix goes to New York City to solidify her career.
Yeah.
She leaves Briar with Emira. Emira and Briar have the best time in the world. They do everything Briar wants to do. Briar loves it. Emira loves it.
They just loving each other.
They just love each other. Mm-hmm. Final part 4, to freedom. So Alix wakes up one day and she goes, this won't stand. She finds out where Kelly works and shows up in front of his job. He rushes her to a cafe so that she does not embarrass him in front of his colleagues. They have it out.
They have it out.
Who is the most racist? Who is the most racist? And she's like, you gave Robbie the code to my house because you fetishize black people and you wanted to always be cool with the black people and you threw me under the bus to do it. And he's like, you got to always put black people in a uniform and make them wear your name and feel like you own them. And so you're racist. And she's like, no, you're racist. And he's like, no, you're racist.
You act like what happened to you was worse than what happened to Robbie, even though, let's not even go there. If you love Emira so much, then let her wear what she wants. I'm sure I didn't handle things well back in high school. I was 17. I was an idiot. But at least I'm not still requiring a uniform for someone who works for me so I can pretend like I own them. Oh my God. Alix formed fists with both hands on the table. You have no idea what you're talking about. She asked. I lent her a shirt. You lend her the same shirt every day? In the business, we call that a uniform. You are so completely out of line. Alix has started her day in Manhattan, ready to tell Kelly, I know who you really are. But now she's sat in Philadelphia, participating in a losing game called, Which One of Us is Actually More Racist? Alix cracked her neck to the side and pointed her hands like daggers on top of the table. Emira is part of our family. We've never forced her to do anything she doesn't want to do. I've known her for longer than you have, and I'm ready to do whatever it takes to protect her. This is rich. You're unbelievable. I'm not joking, Kelly. If you don't, Alix, listen to yourself. You are the same person you were in high school. God, I saw you on Thanksgiving and I thought, how did this happen? But of course this happened. Of course you're hiring black people to raise your children and putting your family crest on them, just like your parents who you were so ashamed of. And of course you sent Emira to a super white grocery store at midnight and expected everything to be okay. So now you're blaming me for the police interrogating Emira? That's hysterical. Why is that? Because she wouldn't have gotten in trouble that night if she'd been wearing a uniform. Now would she? And there, she says, and I've known her longer than you. And I'm like, You ain't know her that long. I mean, the difference in which the two of them met is so minimum, but she held that out like it was very real.
Yeah.
Like, I got something over you. We family.
Yeah. She's a member of the family.
Yeah.
You be careful with her. Now, what are your feelings about Alix at this time?
I was trying to root for her, but when she got to looking at her text messages, I was like, you weird, lady. You really weird.
The text messages crossed the line. However, at this table, outside of everything else, the context, I understand that kind of feeling responsibility for someone, but Emira doesn't reciprocate those feelings. So why do you feel so attached?
Exactly.
And is this really what's the love? Philia type of love? Or are you like owning her and you feel like this is my property? Get your hands off of my African American.
It can't be, because it can't be a love of brother.
Yeah.
It can't be that, because she doesn't know her. Yeah. She's only reading her text message. She doesn't even know how to have a real conversation.
But this is a girl that she's trusted with her daughter, and she doesn't want her to be hurt by this guy who is a serial.
She don't know her.
Serially dates black women.
She doesn't know her. She can't even set herself up to have a conversation with her. No.
Yeah. So I decided that for me, the issue comes with going to Kelly in the first place. What is your relationship to him? Leave that man alone and go to Emira. But if you don't have that relationship with Emira, then altogether, mind your business.
Mind your business. Worry about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's issues. While this is going on, Alix has unknowingly forgotten her baby Catherine at home in a fleece knapsack.
Shame.
You know, she's only a so-so mom. Emira goes out to celebrate with her friends because she's turning 26. While they're at the bar and they're keying, a friend screams, "Oh my goodness, Emira, you're bleeding." And she's like, "What, huh? Where?" And they're like, "Well, let's take you to the bathroom, then we'll tell you." So this part kind of mirrors how Alix had gathered all her friends into the closet upstairs in her house to give them the tea. And now Amira's friends are gathering her into the bathroom to tell her, hey, that video
is in these streets
at Market Depot, the one your boyfriend keep bringing up that you want him to drop, it's viral, girl. And people are commenting.
Whoa.
And they're taking clips of Briar and zooming in. Yep, that's me. You might wonder how I got here. It is a full out meme. So she's mortified. She doesn't doubt Kelly, but her friends are not convinced. Amira's BFF, Zara, grabs Kelly's phone from his hand, and the video is still on it, even though he swore that he deleted it. Her friends rush Emira out.
Can I ask about this part?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, did she find it in his sent mail? Because he deleted it in front of her.
But, okay, there's also this thing where Emira doesn't know technology, so she wouldn't even know where to look. I don't even know if she, went through.
No, she didn't. He
showed her something, and she was like, okay, I guess it's deleted. But she's not tech savvy. She doesn't even have an Instagram.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Okay.
It's unfortunate. Alix offers Emira a nanny position soon after with benefits. This sounds closer to the adult job that Emira needs and is hungry for. Alix also offers to help Emira clean up the viral video fiasco. Mm-hmm.
Oh, no comment.
Okay, Zara and Emira arrive at Alix's home for a television interview with Lainey. That's Peter's co-host. They're planning to talk about the viral video and take control of the conversation. While using the restroom, Zara overhears Alix ask Black Tamara if she did the right thing. The pieces start coming together. Zara rushes into the bathroom with Emira and is like, hey, you can't work here no more.
I like Zara.
And this is when, the truth becomes clear to both of them. When Emira would visit Alix, not visit, but when she was over to babysit, she was sometimes asked to use the computer. One day she used the computer to send an email and did not log out. It is clear that Alix saw the video, the Market Depot video, and emailed it to the news station that her husband works for. Mm-hmm. In the bathroom, Emira and Zara negotiate a new job / promotion for Emira with the Green Party. Yeah, the Green political party, who she's been working for consistently on like a sporadic basis.
Yeah, twice a week.
Mm-hmm. Oh, twice a week. Is that right?
Yep.
The cameras start rolling. Alix, we are so proud of Emira. We hired her as a nanny full time. This is a strong woman who we want watching our girls because this is who we want them to be. Strong, assertive women. And Emira, actually, I won't be working full time for the Chamberlains. This video being released has put some things in perspective for me, so I won't be working here. You can catch me at the Green Party, though. Emira tells Alix, I just think it would be best if we went our separate ways and that those paths never came back together. Which is a remix of the breakup line. Alix will never forget. Emira gives
hit her hard.
Emira gives Zara a look and Zara hops on camera. Yeah, that's right. Homegirl is out. She with the Green Party now. She got money. This democracy. Woo woo. We in these streets. All streets. Whose streets? All streets.
That was extra.
This is like, whoa, Kiley. Stop. But hilarious. So Emira and Alix, they have their fallout. And as she's leaving, Emira tells Alix, well, first of all, there's this little part where Alix is like, you heard I'm working with the Clinton campaign, and so you go work for the Green Party? And Amira's like, I've been working for them longer than I've been working for you. And it's just it's more evidence that Alix don't even know Emira. They don't know each other.
And she got so many opinions.
Yes, she has formed in her mind this girl, her background, her future, and she doesn't know her. On her way out, though, Emira tells her, pay attention to Bri. Pay attention to her. She's young now, but soon she'll know. Ugh. Love that girl like I love her. So, okay. Now we're at the finale. Flashback senior year. Alix at the time, was one of the 2 senior class representatives at her school. She spent the final days of her senior year cleaning lockers. It was part of her duty as class representative. She opened Kelly's locker, her ex, and it was clean, like he had moved out after a divorce, taking with him all evidence of the dead relationship. She was taken aback.
Yeah.
But as she dropped to clean the locker under it, several letters in her own handwriting fall out. Under Kelly's locker was Robbie's. And between the 2 lockers, she finds 5 of her own letters unopened. Clearly, some of her letters found their way directly to Robbie. So Kelly said he never gave Robbie the letter, with the code to her gate and confessing her, love and all that. And he was telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
However, Alix pockets these letters. There's no one around. And she decides to continue with the narrative that suits her best. Right. She decides that, no, Kelly did lie to me. And I am the victim. And this last year in high school
is his fault.
Is all his fault. Soon she stops pretending and the lie becomes her truth. It's what she tells people and it's what she's decided to believe in her heart. Fast forward. Emira worked for the Green Party for 5 weeks. She saw a boy putting goldfish on like a flimsy plate and helped him put it in a cup instead. The boy belonged to a regional director of the U.S. Census Bureau, Paula. Paula hires Emira as her assistant. 2 years into that job, Paula's like, why are you still the Andy to my Miranda? Go get a real job. There's no way you should be so content working as my assistant. And Amira's like, oh, okay, well, I'll look for a real job. But in reality, she remains Paula's assistant until Paula retires. A few days after the television fiasco, Kelly texts Emira. He says, I saw your clip. I'm so proud of you. I always knew you could do it. She had been waiting for his text. She still wants to be with him. She realizes she was wrong and she wants him to open the door for them to reconnect. But after this text, she realizes if they get back together, he'll think he's right about everything and he'll take power in the relationship.
That was interesting to me.
So we'll never be together again. We are never, ever getting back together, as Beyonce once said. When she was 28, she saw Kelly Copeland. He didn't see her. Kelly Copeland was with another Black girl. Also, while shopping for bridesmaids dresses for Shawnee's first wedding, Emira sees Briar and now 2-year-old Catherine and Alix with 2 Black nannies pushing 2 more babies. Just as he was right about Alix, Alix was right about Kelly. A decade later, Emira thinks of Briar. If Briar ever struggled to find herself, she'd probably just hire someone to do it for her. And that's the book. Let's take a break. And we are back. Alexis, what did you think? What did you think of Such a Fun Age by Kiley Reid, and would you recommend this book?
Okay, so when I initially got it, I was hoping to get a book from the library. I couldn't. There were like 400 holds on it, and that's
and
literal.
You're not exaggerating.
I'm not exaggerating at all.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's pretty popular right now. So I ended up getting a Kindle version, and I like a physical book, so that was hard.
Yeah.
I think I just don't like being on my phone all the time, especially reading.
Yeah.
It's bad for my eyes. But anyway, so
there's a dark mode, in Kindle where you can make the sheet black and the words white.
Oh, okay. I'll think about. Oh, yes. I think I did that when I was starting Hamilton.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so I got that book and I started reading it, and I read a few pages, but I wasn't initially drawn in.
Sure.
And then I put it down and I picked it up again. I read a few more pages.
Still, and then you waited 2 days before we recorded. It was like, oh, I got to read this.
Yeah. And so what I ended up doing is getting the audiobook version. Okay. So I listened and read at the same time.
Yeah.
Could match that up. And so that allowed me to get a little further in the book. And I did get to a point where I didn't want to put it down and I wanted to hear.
You did.
So,
how far were you before you started really caring about these characters?
I was well into the book.
Maybe the middle?
Yes.
Okay.
I got to say yes to that. So I ended up enjoying it.
Yeah.
I did end up enjoying the book. Sometimes I liked her voice, her audio reading of it. And then other times.
Who's the reader? Nicole Lewis.
Okay. So I did enjoy some of her readings. Some parts I was like, that's a little extra. And then there was a part in there, and I wanted to pick it out, but I can't remember which part it was, where I felt like it was a white woman reading for a Black person.
So I have to tell you that on Goodreads, some of the criticism was that this book felt like a white woman writing for Black characters.
Oh, writing for Black characters.
Yeah. And so you echo that sentiment?
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
What about it made you feel that way?
I just think it was one of the interactions. I felt like I'm like, what a Black woman really say that?
Like
who's
what?
Really? That's what I mean. I need to identify those sections, and I didn't mark those off truly.
Just sometimes it struck you funny.
Yeah, just yes, exactly. Sometimes it struck me funny. So it was interesting. I did enjoy the book, and I would recommend it but I would say that there is some strong language, definitely strong language in the book. So how about you? Would you recommend the book?
I will say that I bought this book maybe a month ago. Because I saw myself running out of time, I also bought the Audible version to listen to at work. And I was in from the first word. I laughed out loud. And we've been reading a lot of heavy books.
Yes. So we needed a lighter book.
Some nonfiction that has, that haunts my dreams. And so to fill a book, and it made me think of like my young 20s when I was like going out with my friends. And, it's hard. I understand that I'm picking up a lot of tangents, but I understand the sentiment that these Black girls don't sound like my Black. But that's a difficult conversation to have because every culture has its nuances and then there are subcultures. She wasn't performing Black to me in the book, but I do get it. I do get the feeling that I want to see myself in this character and this mirror ain't quite clean. I get that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But overall, I felt it was relatable. I was really taken in by the story right away. The account of Emira at the grocery store happens in the first few pages of the book.
Yeah.
And it sets the scene for the rest of the book. And this is huge. This is kind of where you, in one moment, see what everyone is made of, and you can either ignore it or recognize it. The fact that she didn't want to be recorded and Penn State continued to record her, which was Kiley. And even the fact that Alix, okay, this is what it boils down to, which I felt like the book really bit into, is that proximity to Blackness does not cure racism. You can have Black Tamara as a friend. That doesn't make you not a racist.
For the people in the back.
And then at the same time, Amira's got to deal with playing this part that everyone seems to have cast her in, and everyone has an idea of who she should be.
Exactly.
And not just Kiley and Alix, but even her friends, even Emira is like, why am I not this person that I should be? That's something that everyone maybe has to go through. Her family, right? But thought that also, but at the same time, she has to deal with her role in society as a Black girl. So I felt like, without being too preachy and without making these characters world center around their race, that also irritates me. I don't need you to perform Blackness for me. I am Black, and I don't need the characters to always tell me how Black they are, whether implying it or explicitly saying it. I am over that for a little bit. I want you to live, because we all have different experiences, and I believe a lot of things about you, whether it be your race, your family, or your class, is going to inform who you are. So I want to see who you are. You know what I mean? And I can deduce from that whatever I choose to, which is great because that tells me more about myself than it does about the character. What am I deciding about these people before they tell me who they are?
And you had an opportunity to do that.
You did,
which was, I think, I couldn't figure out how I felt about that. But then by the end, I was like, yeah, I think that was okay that she didn't say right away that Tamara was a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
And then she mentioned her.
Oh,
drag.
right. Because I was thinking, how come I didn't know Tamara was Black?
Because she never told you.
Yeah.
I didn't know right away that Kiley was white, was a white male. I didn't realize even that
Joseph was Hispanic.
Yeah. So there were a lot of those situations, and I did appreciate that because you did get to know their characters,
but also not shying away from their race or anything else about them.
Right. It just came up when it came up.
Yeah.
So and I did. I'm sorry. You finished your verdict. Oh, I did have laugh out loud moments.
Yeah.
I did have those experiences. Well, I was like, I remember some stuff like that. I did have those moments. As I was reading the story.
Yeah, the good and the bad, and having the second guess
and the bad
white people that are kind to you, which I didn't feel like Emira did. She could have actually done more of that,
but she did not.
But she didn't ever do that. So there is a generation that feels like we got it, and we are open-minded, and we see people for who they are. These people like to say crazy stuff like, "I don't see color."
Yes,
let's
work with someone like that
because. And maybe it comes from a good place. Maybe you don't want to be a racist.
Right.
That's great. Keep not wanting to be a racist. But then also look inside, and I'm talking to myself also, and just make sure your private thoughts are in line with that you are not looking at people as your property, that you are treating them with respect. Respect people's agency. You do not own anyone. You can't even care for your kids, Alix. Stay out of everybody else's business. Worry about yourself. Worry about yourself. No, thank you.
That. What does that look like?
I love that. I love the nuances. However, I will say the language was a little
strong.
It was a little strong, and I just felt like I wouldn't recommend it to everyone.
Right.
But overall, I really enjoyed this book. Out of 5 stars, 4. Because I'm giving Sula 5. So, this is your first novel. But that second, that third, she's got some phrases in here. She writes with a relatability that I envy as a writer. I love the way she can put in pop culture in a way that I don't feel will be dated in 10 years. She brought up a lot of pop culture references in a way that I felt were just... It was kind of cool to hear, to listen to, and feel like you're in the moment with them. So that's my final verdict. I'd recommend it to some, and 4 out of 5 for such a fun age. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And I would read it again.
We giving stars and stuff.
Oh, I didn't finish this thought. I bought the book a month ago.
Okay.
Bought the Audible version and was so captivated by the reader that when it came time to read the book, I said, no, I want to hear my girl read it. And I closed the book, put it down, and straightened my hair while listening to, ooh, that's symbolic. Straightened my hair while listening to Such a Fun Age on Audible. So I have to say, this was the best Audible book I've heard in a while.
Wow.
So, to tell the truth, I was laughing. I felt like this is a great time.
What are we going to read next week, Kari?
The great neoclassic. I mean, this is a book that college courses are based on.
Is it really?
Probably not. Charlotte's Web by E.B. White.
Enter applause here.
And why are we reading this, Alix, Alexis?
Because I'm tired of reading all your long books.
Tired of reading books. That doesn't bode well for this podcast.
I'm tired of reading your
girl,
long
we need a break.
books.
We need a break, but we didn't want to give you guys like a week without a show. And so we're going to read Charlotte's Web. Also, I remember this being read to me in 2nd grade. My teacher started crying and we all laughed at her and pointed. So I don't remember the book.
Oh, that's good.
But maybe I'll cry and there'll be some redemption here.
I never read the book before.
Look at us. We're shame. We've never read Charlotte's Web, so we skipped past the YA aisle and went right to the baby books. This is a glorified picture book and we're reading it. And you know what? If you don't usually find the time to read, please read this one with us.
Yes,
it'll be fun.
Yes. I don't know how many pages it is, but I was hoping it was under 200.
Well, it's 170, but it's like the font is 36.
Oh.
36.
That can't be. I got this other children's
1 word
section.
per page.
Don't do me like that.
Okay. All right.
All right, readers. Thank you for listening to Lit Society. Lit Society is brought to you by Alexis Honoria and Kari Herrera.
That's me.
Support the cause by leaving a 5-star review for our show on Apple Podcasts, along with a comment about why you absolutely love us, because we love you.
Say it again for the win. Hey, you guys, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, okay, please, along with the comment about why you love us, because we love you too. Thanks. Please leave that review. Thanks.
If you enjoyed what you heard today, tell a friend about Lit Society. There's this new thing out there that the kids are doing. It's called Goodreads. Tell us about that, Kari.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Goodreads. My username is KariHerrera. And for the readers out there, that's Kari Herrera.
One day I'm going to join that too. I mean, I am joined. I just got to figure out
But you don't have
some
the
things.
username.
I mean, I'll get there.
So just follow me for now.
That's for the kids out there.
I'm the fun one. I'm not a regular Goodreads member. I'm a cool member.
Yeah, I'm a regular. Visit LitSocietyPod.com for show notes, this month's book list, and to sign up for our amazing email newsletter. And until next time, readers, read something.